Every day, you open social media. You like posts, scroll through your feed, share your thoughts. You think you're just passing the time. But at that moment, someone is studying you, collecting data, building a profile, assessing your predictability. Algorithms are already deciding what you will see, what you will think, and who you will become. This isn't science fiction. It's a digital concentration camp. No bars, no guards, just a screen and you. Ready to find out how you became a prisoner? It all starts with something simple. In the morning, you pick up your phone. A few swipes and you're in the familiar interface. Your fingers launch an app that knows you better than your loved ones. You like a video of a cat, write a short comment under a meme, send a funny video to a friend. It all seems harmless. You're just socializing, just having fun, just passing the time. But every gesture you make is recorded. Every like, pause, swipe, tap, and glance at the screen is turned into a piece of information. And that information goes into an algorithm that never sleeps. It analyzes, builds models, draws conclusions, and adjusts your feed, your reality. You are no longer just a user. You are a source of data. And most importantly, you gave your consent to this. Once upon a time, we fought for privacy. We locked doors, closed windows, hid letters. Today, we post photos of our children, addresses, routes, preferences online. We give strangers information about our health, income, views, dreams. Under the guise of openness, it is total surrender, voluntary slavery. And the worst thing is that most people do not even realize that they have become prisoners. At the beginning of the digital age, social media seemed like a space of freedom. It was a new frontier where everyone could express themselves, find an audience, and build their identity. People believed in the power of the internet as a democratizing tool. But step by step, this freedom was bought out. Private data became currency, content became bait, and users became commodities. The goal is not your comfort, but your predictability. Every click you make forms a digital mask that can be monetized, sold, and used. This mask is more accurate than any passport. It knows when you wake up, what you eat, who you are angry at, what you are afraid of, and what your secret desires are. It is updated in real time and transmitted to those who know how to read it. Technology no longer asks who you are. It has already decided everything for you. You go on social media to relax, but it's not relaxation. It's a programming session. Every time you scroll through your feed, you're not just being shown something. You're being tested, modeled, calibrated. You're in an experiment that no one warned you about, but you gave your consent by ticking the box in the user agreement that no one reads. And now you are a voluntary prisoner. No bars, no guards. Just a screen in your hand. And a habit. Your digital footprint is not just a list of websites you have visited. It is a reflection of your personality, interests, fears, and aspirations. Social networks can read more than you think. They don't just know who your friends are and what you're subscribed to. They know how long you lingered on a photo, at what point you scrolled through a video, what you wrote but didn't send, what topics evoke emotions in you, even if you don't show them outwardly. This collection of data is your digital shadow. It follows you everywhere. Even if you delete posts, turn off geolocation, and clear your cache, the shadow remains. You can be tracked by your writing style, activity time, and interaction patterns. Artificial intelligence is trained to find you even under a new username. Your digital identity sticks to you like a second skin. At first, only the obvious was collected: name, city, age. Then came interests, actions, behavior. Now, algorithms are capable of making assumptions about your personality type, sexual orientation, political views, and tendency towards depression or aggression. They can calculate when you are in love, when you are upset, when you are susceptible to influence. These are not guesses. These are accurate statistical models built on billions of observations. Why do they need all this? Because data is the oil of the 21st century. Your profile is sold to advertisers, political strategists, insurers, and government agencies. And the more accurate it is, the more valuable it is. But it's not just about money anymore. Whoever owns the data owns the levers of influence. They can guide your choices, gently, unobtrusively, imperceptibly. You are convinced that you made the decision yourself, but you just happen to be in the right information environment at the right time. In some countries, digital shadows are already replacing passports. China is introducing a social rating system where online behavior affects access to credit, employment, and travel. Break the rules, and you get a minus. Cross the street in the wrong place, and you'll find out about it in a notification. Bought too much alcohol? Your bank will take note. Wrote a careless comment? You're blocked. This is not science fiction, but the reality for millions of people. But even in countries where this does not yet exist, pressure mechanisms are already at work. Visa refusal because of an old tweet. Losing your job because of a like. Automatic bans and shadow blocking without explanation. You think you are free, but your shadow decides for you. And it never forgets. You create content, photos, texts, videos, but you are not the author. You are a source of data. Your every action is turned into a number that goes into a black box. And this box is not controlled by society. It is controlled by those who know how to make money from the predictability of the masses. Who is behind this machine? We are used to thinking of social media as independent platforms. But this is an illusion. Behind every major digital service are investors, lobbyists, intelligence agencies, and political interests. Facebook, TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, YouTube are not just technology companies. They are tools of influence. Their interface is simple, but the architecture of power within them is complex and opaque. Take Meta, for example. The company that owns Facebook and Instagram is one of the largest providers of citizen data to government agencies. After the Cambridge Analytica scandal, it became clear that private data is being used to build behavioral models that influence elections. Subtle mechanisms of manipulation are hidden under the guise of recommendation algorithms. You are not shown what you are interested in, but what you are programmed to like. TikTok, owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, is causing alarm among American intelligence agencies. Its algorithms shape the tastes of millions of teenagers. They can raise or sink politicians, shape cultural trends, normalize or demonize topics. You think you choose the content, but in reality, it chooses you. Every view is an investment in future behavior. Twitter, after its purchase by Elon Musk, has become an arena for ideological battles. Moderation has changed, but it hasn't disappeared. The idea of freedom of speech turned out to be just another marketing slogan. Behind the scenes, the same old mechanisms remain. Shadow banning, algorithmic priorities, hidden filters. You can say whatever you want, but no one will hear you if you're invisible. The largest platforms cooperate with governments. They hand over data on request. They impose restrictions on orders. They obey laws that are written not for freedom, but for control. Even in countries with democratic institutions, algorithms are tailored to the agenda. When necessary, some topics are amplified, while others disappear. Everything you see in your feed is not your choice, but the system's. And the most alarming thing is that algorithms no longer always obey people. They learn on their own. Machine learning systems are optimized for engagement metrics. If anger gets more likes, the algorithm will give you anger. If panic leads to increased viewing time, you will get panic. The algorithm has no morals. It only knows one goal: to keep you there. And it will do anything to achieve that. Platforms don't just know who you are. They teach you to be who they want you to be. And the more time you spend inside, the less you belong to yourself. You become a product. Controllable, predictable, sellable. Algorithms are the new priesthood. They are incomprehensible, opaque, but they determine everything. What you see, who you communicate with, what you think about. This is no longer just a program. It is a mechanism for shaping reality. Once upon a time, the media acted as a filter, with editors, ethics, responsibility. Today, there is no filter. There is only an endless feed controlled by AI that cannot distinguish between truth and lies. It only distinguishes between what is clickable. You think you choose the content, but in reality, the algorithm chooses you. It shows you what will hold your attention. If you are prone to anxiety, you will be fed scary news. If you are easily angered, you will be given scandals. If you are searching for something, you will be given answers. They don't have to be true. The main thing is that they are engaging. And the longer you look, the stronger the pattern becomes. First, the algorithm studies you. Then it shapes you. It teaches you to react in a certain way. It feeds you opinions that are close to you, reinforces them, and eliminates opposing ones. You find yourself in a bubble where everyone thinks like you, and you are convinced that this is how everyone thinks. But this is not the world. It is an artificial cocoon built around your vulnerabilities. Algorithms do not know empathy. They know how to provoke aggression, resentment, fear, and euphoria. They don't do it on purpose, but they do it. Because emotions keep you engaged, and that means they're useful. And as long as you're engaged, you're controllable. You've become a player in a game whose rules change in real time. But you never know what criteria you're being judged by. Think about how many times you've noticed that after talking about something, you immediately see an ad about that very topic. Or when you start Googling something, the algorithm already knows what you want. It's not magic. It's statistics. Algorithms see you before you see yourself. They know what you are going to do before you even realize it yourself. But the scariest thing is the exclusion mechanism. The algorithm may simply not show you something important. It may cut off your coverage. It may ensure that your voice is not heard. It can make you invisible. You will remain online, but you will not exist. This is digital exile, without trial, without appeal. Just a code decision. And all this is presented as a service, as convenience, as progress. But in reality, it is soft censorship, total control, Algorithmic power from which there is no escape, because there is nowhere to run. Governments quickly realize that social media is not just entertainment, but a weapon, a means of surveillance, influence, and suppression. Where once armies and propaganda were needed, now all you need is access to servers and levers on platforms. The most valuable thing is information about citizens' behavior. And it is precisely this that governments now obtain without a warrant, without questioning, without fuss. You gave it to them yourselves. Cooperation between social networks and the authorities has long been the norm. Platforms are required to provide data upon request. In some countries, this is written into law. In others, it is disguised as a fight against extremism, terrorism, and disinformation. But the mechanism works everywhere. You write, like, subscribe, and someone records, analyses, evaluates. Every person's profile becomes a dossier, accessible at the click of a button. In countries with authoritarian regimes, social media is a golden tool. It's convenient to keep track of who thinks what, who criticizes, who doubts. Algorithms themselves suggest who could be a threat. Deleting posts, blocking, arrests. It all starts with a like. And with an invisible gaze reading through the screen. But surveillance is alive and well in democracies too. It's just packaged differently. Where there is no direct repression, there are restrictions on visibility. The algorithm simply makes you a shadow. You write, but no one sees you. You are read, but you are not quoted. Your content ceases to be interesting. This is not censorship. It is optimization, a soft but effective form of exile. An example is mass protests. Somewhere they ignite through social media. Somewhere else, they fade away in the same place. As soon as the platform changes its algorithm, the calls for action sink. Videos don't reach subscribers. Feeds are filled with distractions, and the protest disappears. In the noise of the information ocean, without suppression, without force. Simply, it wasn't shown. But the most dangerous part is the accumulation of data. Today, it is used for forecasting and targeting. Tomorrow, it will be used for preventive control. Already, AI can identify suspicious behavior patterns. Such systems are already in place in China. They are being tested in other countries. In 5 to 10 years, they will become the norm. You haven't broken any rules, but the system will decide that you are a potential threat, and your credit will be restricted, your travel will be blocked, your access to information will be closed. Not because of a court, not because of the law, because of data, and its interpretation by an algorithm that doesn't care about your rights. The future that is looming on the horizon is frighteningly logical. If things continue in the same vein, we will find ourselves in a world where a digital profile is more important than a passport, where your identity is determined not by your actions, but by how an algorithm describes you. A world in which every citizen becomes a dot on a graph, a set of behavioral markers assessed in real time. You left the house. The system recorded it. You spoke to the wrong people. It ticked a box. You showed interest in a prohibited topic. Your rating was lowered. And now you can't get a loan, buy a train ticket, or get a job. Not because you are guilty, but because the system has decided that you are a risk. This is not the plot of a dystopian novel. It is already a reality in China, and it is being implemented piece by piece in dozens of countries. Social rating sounds like science fiction, but elements of it are already here. Banks assess creditworthiness based on digital behavior. Employers check candidates' social media accounts. Platforms monitor what you post, how you react, and who you communicate with. And if your activity is suspicious, you disappear from view. Automatically, without explanation, without the right to appeal. Censorship in its traditional form is no longer necessary. No one will forbid you to speak. It's just that no one will hear you. Your words won't make it into the news feeds, your videos won't open, your posts won't be shared. You will remain in the shadows forever. And no one will even know that you have been blocked. Because blocking has become invisible. And if you want to leave, delete your accounts, quit the game, it's almost impossible. Digital shadows remain. Your actions are forever in the logs. Your photos are on servers. Your connections are in databases. You cannot erase yourself. You have already been archived, classified, predicted. The system will not let you go. The future is a digital concentration camp without guards. People voluntarily hand over their data, happily carry cameras in their pockets, publish their biographies, and open up their emotions. No one is forcing them. It's all voluntary. But the boundaries are getting narrower. There is almost no space left for spontaneity, privacy, or unpredictability. A digital prison does not need walls. It is built from interfaces, habits, and algorithms. It is presented as convenience, as a service, as care. But the essence remains: control, submission, predictability. You are not a citizen. You are a piece of data. And the more accurate it is, the stronger the cage. A world is coming where freedom is an illusion, where everything is visible, everything is known, everything is evaluated, where every step is a mark, and every choice is already predicted. And while you think you're just scrolling through your feed, the system is scrolling through you. It is impossible to stop. Even if you realize the threat, you are already inside. Delete your accounts, and you will lose your job, your friends, your connections. Try to disagree, and you will be left behind by the system. Today, digital life is not an addition, but the basis of existence. To leave it is to cease to exist. We live in a simulation of freedom. We think we choose what we say and what we watch. But our choices are already filtered. Our words have already been run through an algorithm. Our views have already been predicted. This is not a conspiracy in the classical sense. It is a structure in which every element is logical, and every element is threatening. No chains are being imposed on us. We put them on ourselves, for comfort, for convenience, for likes. And until it's too late, no one will say, stop. Because there will be no alarm signal. There will just be a feeling that something is missing. Space. The right to make mistakes. The opportunity to be yourself. And when we realize this, the system will already be complete. With no way out, no off button, no way back.